Well, you guys might remember that back in 1872, Kevin Feige got on stage at Comic-Con and announced that Mahershala Ali was going to be Blade. That was back, I believe, when my grandfather first came over on the boat from Italy. It's been a long time. So long, in fact, that most of us don't really kind of believe it's actually going to happen anymore. Mahershala Ali, who is a two-time Academy Award-winning actor, my one criticism, my one apprehension, if you will, about his casting as Blade at the time was he might be a little too old to start playing a long-term character in the MCU. Well, that was 6 years ago, and he's even older now. We've heard a lot of things, maybe now, maybe not. But a new rumor, and we have to file this one under the rumor mill, okay? This one's filed under the rumor mill. But according to a new rumor here, Mahershala Ali is going to set to debut in Avengers Secret Wars. Now, from what I've been able to piece together from the different places reporting this all comes from one place, which is our friend Jeff Snyder, who apparently kind of hinted at it, implied on it on his podcast that he does there with John Roca, that it looks like we're going to get Mahershala Ali coming into Secret Wars. All right. There's two different questions that we always ask when we approach, rumor type stuff.
I love rumor.
Questions. The two questions that we always ask are, one, do we believe this is believable? Second, if we assume it's true for a moment, how would we feel about it? All right, so let's start with that first question there. Do I think this rings at all believable? Well, there's some things going for it and going against it. Going against it are the fact that clearly they haven't started shooting this movie yet. So nobody has seen Mahershala Ali on set or anything like that. So there's no real tangible evidence that this is true. However, I'm going to lean to the believable side of this. The reason being is Kevin Feige has consistently maintained that it is still the plan to have the great Mahershala Ali play Blade. He has never wavered from that. He's never said we're getting ready to shoot a new movie, but he's always maintained that it is still the plan to have Mahershala Ali do it. Mahershala Ali has continued to say, despite some frustrations, that he still wants to play the character. All that. The second thing that I find believable about it is that I think they are literally going to go to Home Depot and hire people in line there to play different Marvel characters. Because I believe while a lot of Marvel movies will have a lot of Marvel characters, I think they're going to throw the kitchen sink in Secret Wars. Like I think in Secret Wars, anybody who is even an extra in an old Fox version of a Marvel movie, they're going to bring back and put in Secret Wars. I mean, I don't have any, proof of that. I'm kind of thinking I have on it. So it presents them with an opportunity too, because if one of the things they're having a hard time with is really cracking the code on coming up with a full, complete, quality Blade script, this gives you an easy entry. You don't have to have a fully fleshed out Blade story. All you need to do is have a good part. And to bring him in, whether he's there for 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever, it gives you the opportunity to at least break the seal and say, okay, Mahershala Ali is at least now in the MCU. So would I bet $100 on this being real? No. But I'm going to lean towards it being believable to me because of all the reasons that I just listed. Well, that brings up the second question. If it is real, okay, just assuming for the sake of fun that it was real. And by the way, big thank you to Sora Fan, who sent in 5 John Campea gift memberships. Thank you so much for that, Sora Fan. Appreciate that very much, man. Let's assume for a moment that it is true. Okay. It might not be, but let's just, for the fun of the discussion, let's assume that it is. How would I feel about it? Same way I've been feeling about it since the day they announced it back in 1614, that he was coming. I love the idea. I do. Again, I am still a little bit apprehensive about his age because I believe he's 55 now. I believe he's 55, which is fine to play Blade once or twice. But if you're looking at a character who you'd like to have around for 10 years, but even with that, he's a 2-time Academy Award winner, might actually end up being a 3-time Academy Award winner. He's got that new one coming out that they previewed for us at CinemaCon, Rob. So, I mean, it's never a bad idea to add talent. So and the fact that I think they're going to try to stuff as many characters into Secret Wars as possible, I like the idea. So Rob, overall, I'm going to say I'll lean towards believing it. And then assuming we believe it, I like the idea. Guys, we want to take a second and thank a sponsor of today's video, Hims. You know, one of the hardest things about trying to lose weight is just figuring out what actually works. Because we've seen them all. There are a million trends, diets, and gimmicks out there. And honestly, it can get overwhelming. And that's why weight loss by Hims really stands out. Hims now offers access to an affordable range of FDA-approved GLP-1 medications, including the Wegovy pill at its lowest price ever and the Wegovy pen. With Wegovy at Hims, lose up to 20% or more of your body weight when combined with diet and exercise. It helps you regulate your appetite and eat less, so success is within reach. Plus, Wegovy is the first ever and only GLP-1 available in a pill for weight loss, so there are no needles needed. And the process is extremely convenient. Everything happens online. You connect with a licensed provider who determines if treatment is right for you, and if prescribed, your medication gets delivered right to your door. No insurance necessary. Ready to reach your goals? Visit hims.com/Campea to get a personalized, affordable plan that gets you. That's HIMS.com/Campea. hims.com/Campea. Based on advertised cash price for 30-day supply of medication only. Membership required, fee not included, and billed separately. Weight loss by Hims is not available in all 50 states. Wegovy is the registered trademark of Novo Nordisk AS. To get started and learn more, including important safety information, Wegovy clinical study information, and restrictions, visit hims.com. Same 2 questions to you. Do you find it believable or not? And then, regardless of your answer to that, assume it's real for a second. How would you feel about it? The floor is yours.
Well, I think that, first of all, I love Mahershala Ali as Blade. I love this idea. I would love to see him as Blade. I love Mahershala Ali as a performer. I love the way he looks. I like the sound of his voice. I love watching him act. He's tremendous. So him playing Blade is something I've always wanted to see. And I think that the version of Blade that Wesley Snipes played in Deadpool and Wolverine prove that you can skew a little older and still be a kick-ass Blade.
For a one-shot thing.
Yeah, for a one-shot thing. But here's my fear about Secret Wars. So for anybody who knows the story of Secret Wars, and I have no idea how they're going to adapt it to film, but since they're destroying the multiverse, in Secret Wars, Dr. Doom creates Battleworld, and Battleworld is broken into these nation states that are run by various factions, characters that we know. The one thing that we don't know about, because we've never seen it, is how do vampires and much of the supernatural world work in the MCU. Now, in something like Werewolf by Night, we got a really interesting taste. We got to see Man-Thing, we got to see Werewolf by Night, we got a little other feelings of the supernatural realm. And I think that, like with Civil War, they can introduce Black Panther. I think it would be tough, not impossible, to introduce Blade and I guess a whole vampire contingent on Battleworld that they would later be able to adapt into the MCU Mark II going forward. So
MCU Mark II.
I mean, I'm going to call it that. The MCU
like
Mark
that.
II. The MCU Mark II, point 2, but Mark II, that's what in my own head canon, that's what I'm calling, because, the Iron Man armors, the different Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3. So I am trepidatious about how they would handle it, but if they do, I can't wait to see what a vampire nation or what vampires would look like, or the supernatural realm would look like on Battleworld. I don't envy the Russo brothers and Marvel with Secret Wars, because I can't even wrap my head around what they're going to do.
Yeah,
based on the comic.
there's a lot of different directions they can go.
Yeah.
I know you've always had this one apprehension about it, which is understandable. About, listen, as long as the MCU's been around, we've never had vampires. Like, how are you going to suddenly introduce that there's this element? The thing, and I don't think you're wrong for feeling that way, but the one thing that makes me me personally not really worry about it too much is they kind of faced a similar situation with the introduction of witches and witchcraft.
They did.
And I thought they navigated that fairly well. Like, between with Wanda and the Multiverse of Madness and then going into Agatha, I thought they actually set it up and did it quite well. And if they can apply, now, it's not an apples to apples comparison, but I think some of the principles are the same. And I think if they can apply that same kind of detail to vampires, I'm not suspecting they're going to have too much trouble with it. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I think it's interesting to me because magic wielders, those are still human beings wielding arcane powers. Whereas the mutants and vampires are a race. They're actually vampires are the undead and mutants have the X gene. So they're and vampires, I would imagine, would be very old because you have depending on what they're going to do, vampirism came from antiquity. So you have a whole lineage of vampires. And I don't necessarily think, the same problem, where have the mutants been and where have the vampires have been. Now, I don't think they can't surmount that. That's not insurmountable. We just haven't seen vampires. Vampires have been around the whole time. We just haven't had any reason to see them because none of the stories involved. I would like to know, if you're a vampire, though, and Thanos snapped his fingers, do vampires disappear?
Since all living things disappeared.
But they're undead.
That's right. Do vampires, since they're not living things? That's a very good question.
That's just me being a nerd, total imagination kind of. So I'm like, I wonder if the vampires disappeared. But no, they can surmount that, and I've always look, one of my favorite X-Men covers is the X-Men meeting Dracula. It's actually,
Yep.
I think was it Storm? And so I'm in. I can't wait to see. I just want to see. I want to see a whole vampire nation, a vampire realm on Battle World. Bring it on.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this? There is a rumor going around that Mahershala Ali will finally make his debut as Blade in Avengers Secret Wars. Do you find it believable? I think there's some evidence there to suggest it could be real. There's also some good arguments about why it might not be, but just assume for a second that it is real. How would you feel about it at this point? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show Podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.